listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. We are so happy to have you here today. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn in the Name of Love. And I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. My co-host, Kimmy Seltzer, is enjoying a holiday and the day off. We have an amazing guest who is with us today. She has so many great tips to help us minimize something that plagues us all the time until we learn techniques to rid ourselves of the dreaded stress. Let us welcome Caroline Heward. She is the Harley Street stress expert. Welcome, Caroline.
Hello. Very pleased to be here. Really pleased. Thank you.
I have to say that, I interview a lot of people, and I was excited to meet you because you were obviously very passionate about coming here today and sharing your message. And I really appreciate that because you engage people in social media, you put it out there. And so I thank you for that. That means a lot. So, Caroline, tell us where you're joining us from today.
I'm in my living room in East London, UK, England. So far away. It's late here. It's dark as well.
That's right. It's after 10 o'clock at night, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. So thank you. And thank you to our friend Philip Chan, who brought us together. He's a wonderful man. Hello, Philip. Hopefully you're out there or getting some rest. So, Caroline, let's talk about when I introduced you. And I'd love to understand, each of the components of that title, the Harley Street Stress Expert. So can you break it down for us?
Yes. I graduated off my training, my bioenergy training, back in 2002. And then I went into practice, and I felt that if I was going to do it seriously, then I should have the right address. So I inquired about getting a license to practice in Harley Street, which wasn't easy. I had to fill in lots of forms and applications and go through their medical board, and then I got approved. And so then it was Caroline Heward, the Harley Street stress expert, because Harley Street in London, in UK, England, is known as the place where all the good doctors and all the good people are that can help you with all sorts of complaints. Stress, well, in 2000, my father passed away, and that created some challenges for me. And I was in corporate at the time in PR and marketing, and I went into a depression. Didn't realize I was in it until 6 months later, which is what made me go and look for solutions, and landed up training and doing therapy work. And so I was looking for stress management, and I was looking for solutions for stress. And ever since 2000, I've worn the mask, the title of stress management, because I've solved my own stress and I help others solve theirs. Expert, well, 21 years of doing this work, I reckon that's expert. So I feel that it's important. Position is really important, so that people feel safe and comfortable with you, because if they don't feel safe, then they won't come and see you. So having the title of expert on Harley Street gives them the confidence that they're going to get a perfect service that's going to help them.
Fantastic. Thank you for all that information. I want to kind of break it down, if that's okay. So you mentioned that you were in a depression for 6 months, but you didn't realize it at the time. What were some of the changes that had taken place in your life or your behaviors, I should say? How had you changed in the way you were managing your life?
Well, I just got married then. I was 9 months into my marriage when I was in awareness. So I'd been married for 3 months, and then my father passed away. And what I felt like I was on autopilot. It almost felt like I was going through the motions without the emotion. And it didn't feel like I was connected to my body. I didn't feel things. I existed. So I was doing things on what I called autopilot and not actually experiencing. And my then husband, when I became aware, I asked him, and he said that I didn't speak. And that's really unlike me, because I am very sociable. So the fact that I didn't speak was a huge deal for me, because I just got married. It was kind of, well, gosh, what kind of a wife am I being? So I said, well, I better get a life. That was my response, being a corporate girl at the time. And then I went on to say, well, I'm not happy in the job, so perhaps, if you can help with my CV, so I can have something bigger to aim for. So he says, yeah, that's fine. So I was working on the practical things of what wasn't working, rather than on the emotions that I clearly wasn't handling. So essentially, I was not experiencing life, I was existing, and that was a challenge.
And when your husband shared that with you, you said it was counterintuitive to how you normally are, but were you shocked to find out that you weren't communicating?
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't go out. I didn't speak to people. I didn't, have, I didn't kind of take calls. It was weird, because I looked back and I couldn't remember what I'd been doing. And even when I was working in PR and marketing, marketing communications, and I just didn't realize, my boss was sitting pretty much next to me, and I was laughing and joking and really sociable prior to losing my dad. And then after 6 months, he said, look, I'm really worried about you. He says, you need to go and talk to someone. I said, don't be so silly. I've just got married. I should be the happiest girl in the world. And those were my words. I should be, because on some level, I knew that there was something not right. I was lucky, my boss, told me to kind of look at what was going on. 6 months. Some people never get that awareness, sometimes for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. They don't even realize they just suddenly stop living. And I consider myself very lucky that it was only 6 months. And then I started asking really big questions. Who am I? What's the meaning of life? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? And that led me into a trajectory which became looking at Eastern body, Eastern mind, Western body. It was looking at the Eastern philosophy of life, because the Western culture hadn't served me. So because I didn't know how to handle it, and I'd never lost anybody that close. Nobody can actually explain what happens to someone when there is a death of somebody that's really close to you. And that's one of my specialties, that because I've had that experience, and that started my course into a new being and a new person. I don't look anything like I did then, and I actually look younger. I started my journey when I was 36, and I'm now 57. So I'm de-aging, and I'm very proud of that. I don't mind telling people my age, because, I don't have any wrinkles. My hands are really clear. And as the years are going on, I'm just looking younger,
Yes!
So.
Let us celebrate that. Woo!
I do. I really do.
We want to know your secrets. Okay, so let's just look at, you went through a time in your life, it was bad, it was painful. It sounds like you almost felt like you were invisible, just walking around like in a fog. And then it was brought to your attention that this is what people were seeing about you. You decided to address it. And then what happened?
Well, the journey that I took was a journey of the chakras. So literally it was a diploma that was the equivalent of an A-level and 18 credits towards a degree. So it's pretty hardcore work. And that journey took me through the 7 major chakras. And essentially it unpicked everything about my life. So my home, my family, my work, my being, my identities, my responses. It looked at everything. And it wasn't like sort of that you write stuff. It was pulling me apart through the training and through the therapy work that I was doing. And I was questioning so much about my life at that time. And I married a guy from corporate because that was who I was then. And after a short period of time, I think it was probably about 6 months, I was kind of looking at my life and realizing I wasn't happy. So the training, and it was training and therapy, moved me into a totally different space inside of me. So I became more responsive to who I am rather than who I thought I was. Because I was wearing lots of different masks and wearing lots of different identities of the daughter, the wife, the housewife, that, you know, I was wearing all those identities and I didn't actually know who I really was. And that's what the work was. It literally unpicked everything until I didn't recognize myself. And what I came to the conclusion of was all the things, all the trappings of the corporate life that I had, the soirees, the black tie dinners, the champagne, wine, the canapes, you know, all the real like sort of things that make you sound like, you know, everything is successful and everything's good, and the wonderful husband who was my consort. It didn't mean anything. I felt empty inside. And so that's what the journey did. It unraveled all the things that I thought were great about my life that actually weren't great.
Wow. I can totally relate with what you're talking about. And I think that there are a lot of people out there watching and listening now or later that this will really resonate with. We get into this pattern of behavior, this lifestyle. I remember people would say to me, oh, you live this jet set life. It's so glamorous and you're flying here and you're doing this and doing that. And meantime, my ulcerative colitis was at the worst it's ever been. And you just put on that face that you're just so invisible inside.
Yeah, I felt empty, like there was nothing. I felt like I was just cut off from the neck down. I didn't feel my body and I didn't feel life. I had no sensory experience at all. And it was challenging because I'd done everything. I'd ticked all the boxes that said, you know, this makes you happy and this makes you successful. And I should have been, but I wasn't. And it wasn't until my dad passed away and I went through this shift and change inside, and then I started doing my training and my therapy work. That was when I realized, wow, this recipe that we've been given, that I'd been sold, because I was sold a story, and that story wasn't true. I wasn't happy. And because I wasn't happy, I didn't know what to do. You know, I just kind of thought, well, and that's the nature of the majority of my clients. You know, the mainstay of my clients are that they've got everything. They have all the recipe, the ingredients that say I'm successful. So the money, the fame, the fortune, the holidays, the houses, the drinking expensive bottles of wine and very expensive bottles of champagne and being seen in all the right places, you know, the life. But it doesn't give you, you know, and I know that for sure, it doesn't give you the happiness, and that's the piece. And we see this time and time again with people like Robbie Williams, George Michael, Tina Turner, you know, all these famous people that are coming out and they're turning to alcohol or drugs because there's something missing. They have the money, they have the fame, they have the fortune, they have the glitz and the glam, they're adored by literally millions, and yet they're not happy. And that was where I was. And it wasn't easy because I'd worked so hard with doing all the training and the qualifications and, you know, doing the study, and it just felt like, for what? And I remember saying, when I'd asked the big questions like, who am I and what am I doing here and what's my purpose? After I'd asked that, I then said, well, if this is it, I am not happy. And that was, it was a tall, stark order, you know, that I had realized, OMG, I am really not happy. What do I do? And I found through the therapy training that I went from the thinking, conversation, analytical mind, which was very much where I lived and very much where I engaged. I was a superstar. I was a performer. You know, I was known as the girl with the Midas touch. You know, if I thought about something and I wanted to do something, I would just create it. It was just, I had it, you know, and I was the go-to person, and it worked. And because it worked, I didn't question it until I realized that, you know, I have all the fame. Everybody loves me, in inverted commas. You know, I was known and I could work the room and I'd soiree. But what was it? It was nothing. And so I turned, you know, I didn't become an alcoholic. That lifestyle makes you drink, you know, the champagne and the wine. It's very free flowing in those places. And when I said, is that it? That's when I changed and said, this is not okay. And of course, because I'd married from my corporate life, he'd married this socialite, you know, PR lovey, you know, this glamorous, you know, sort of person, you know, swearing around, and I'd become something different. And sad for him, you know, he kind of put up with me for 5 years. He gave me a lot of freedom, which I needed to go and do this exploration. And, you know, I kind of say, well, he gave me so much rope, I then hung myself with it, because he walked away and he said, you know, I don't love you anymore. And I really got that, because I wasn't the person he married. He married my lifestyle. He married the corporate soirees, the things that we did, but it wasn't who I became. I became more myself. In fact, one of my best friends turned around and she said, at a certain point, you know, a number of years later, she said, I can really see you're happy with being you. And that was, I wasn't wearing a mask anymore. I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't. I was happy. So now I don't drink very much. 2 glasses and I'm, you know, I'm done.
Caroline, it's a fascinating story, and there's more to hear. We need to take a break. But when we come back, I'd like us to transition into how it is that you're working with people who are in similar situations. And so let's turn now to, when we think about In the Name of Love, let's provide hope and inspiration for all those people who were in a situation like you, or a situation like I was in, and now are finding authenticity and transforming into happiness. How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful, and I can't wait.
Fantastic. I just think it's appropriate now to play for our break, something that I love to play on occasion. It is a beautiful music video by a UK artist. Her name is ILO, I-L-O, and the company is Licorice Dragon Records, and her name is ILO, as I mentioned. The name of the story is Heroes in Disguise. So here we go, ILO, and then we'll be right back. Stay with us after this break.
Picture this, a life where you can leave your pain, a life where you can start again somehow. Picture this, a vision that can change a prayer, happy heart that's always there in the now. So don't be afraid of fear, you know, as long as we're still here, we can be anything larger than life, rise up from the ground. We can fall down over time. picture this, losing everything you got, never having had a lot, but holding on and on and on. Don't be afraid to dream, 'cause we are so much closer than it seems. We can be anything larger than life, rise up from the ground. We can fall down over 10,000 times, then turn it all right back around. We never imagine how good life can be, but inside you and me, we can see past these ghosts in the mirror. Yeah. We can be anything larger than life, rise up from the ground. We can fall down over 10,000 times, then turn it all right back around. We never imagine how good life can be, but inside you and me, we can see past these ghosts in the mirror. Heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise. Heroes in disguise. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet, and the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
That was ILO, Heroes in Disguise. I am not a paid sponsor. I just really dig that song. So please go over to iTunes and download your copy. We are here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn in the Name of Love. My guest today is Jacalyn Heward, and she is the Harley Street stress expert. In our first segment of the show, she shared how she had a charmed life. She was at the top of her game, her industry, socializing, glamorous, great husband. She had it all, but inside she was empty and she was filled with depression. And she went on a journey for 6 months until she actually got a diagnosis. And now she's out there helping other people overcome their adversity and living lives where they feel incomplete. Welcome back, Jacalyn.
Thank you. I love that song. It's absolutely amazing. Beautiful. Okay, well, I have a lot of content to share.
Let's hear it.
One of the first things we do is that we tend to be blaming our external environment. So if we're not happy, for instance, when I said I was, I better get a life, I'm not happy, I was saying it's the job, or it's the husband, or he doesn't love me enough. So this is what we do. We tend to go externalize what's not working. And that's the problem, because as soon as you externalize it and you say, this is not working, and you point the finger, you're actually pointing 3 fingers back to the power of the thumb back to you and disempowering yourself that much more in terms of that powering. So what's important is that if you're not happy about something, it's your response. And then you can when you take ownership, you can change it and you can feel something different. So if you're not happy about something, own what it is that you're not happy about, and then you can change it and do something about it. And that's really, really key, because most of the time that we're in that blaming game that is always somebody else's fault, we don't have any inner peace. And so when you take ownership, so when I said that I don't feel happy, then I was able to do something about it, and rather than say, you don't love me, which is what I frequently did with my then husband, and I don't really feel very great about that, because I was looking for external affection because I didn't love myself. And actually what was happening is that because I externalized it, then I wasn't getting it solved. So to own it, and when you own that it's yours, that you don't feel, you feel sad, you feel angry, you feel guilty, you feel shame, that's when you can change things. Whatever
Caroline, sorry, I want to interrupt just for because I think this is important. We want people who are out there saying, yeah, you know what, I get it. I relate to what she's saying. How difficult was it for you to stand up and say, you know what, I'm not happy? That can be scary, can't it?
Absolutely. It's so scary because you're then taking responsibility. And so when you take responsibility, that's the biggest shift, because then you can change it. And most of the time we're happy in saying it's someone else's fault. When we're not happy in a relationship, a marriage, in the family, we'll always say it's somebody else's fault. And when we say it's somebody else's fault, then we can't do anything and we're disempowered, and then we just feel worse. So taking responsibility, when you take responsibility, the way that I describe it is, if you're holding a hot coal and it's burning you, so the more angry you are holding that hot coal, it's you that's suffering. And so it's important to own what it is that's making you feel angry, upset, sad, dysfunctional. When you own it, then you can change it. And it creates something magical, because that's the point, that you can transmute it and become something different. And you can move from anger to joy. You can move from sadness and heartache to happiness, to compassion. You can move from loneliness and heartache to gratitude. And when you move the frequency from the blame and the not feeling happy and it's always somebody else's fault. I remember saying to my then husband, you don't love me because he didn't do the things that I wanted him to do that made me feel that he loved me. And so it was always his fault. And I really feel quite terrible when I did some more training after the marriage broke up. I thought, oh my gosh, I really did a number on him. And so now I made it right so that next time it doesn't hurt the person that I'm with. So to take ownership. Now, when you're present, when you're really present to yourself, that means that you're not in the mind. When you're in the mind, you're thinking and analyzing and conversing. It's a digital dialogue that's going on in the mind. You're actually the controller of that ship. What you are in that dialogue is that it's your own movie. It's your own soap opera. You're the main movie star and you have all your supporting cast. And that movie causes you challenges because you go over and over things, that you analyze it. And to live in the space of the mind is actually really, really damaging. It's not fun, because when you're in the mind, it never finds happiness. But when you move from the thinking, conversational mind to your heart, all there is peace. All there is joy and gratitude. And all there is calm. And when you move out of the mind and into the heart, you create your own inner peace. And that inner peace is yours. And what's very beautiful about that is when you are peaceful inside, that radiates out to your family, your friends, your colleagues, your community. And then it creates your own wider bubble. If we had everyone doing that, if everyone found their inner peace by literally working on themselves and taking responsibility for what's not working, because it's not about the macro effect, it's the micro effect, it's your response. So even though there's some crazy things going on at the moment, it's actually about your response. And when you respond in a place where you're not being affected, So one of the things I do is, you know, and I'm going to say this on live television, I dance in the nude. And I dance for like 2 or 3 hours late at night. So I have my headset on and I just boogie, and I feel incredibly amazing. And
what kind of music do you like to dance to?
oh, well, because I'm 57, I'm an 80s girl. So it's the new romantics, also like the disco stuff. And my first club kind of experience was Saturday Night Fever. So I pretend I'm with John Travolta, and I'm more than a woman.
I love it. Listen, I'm older than you. I'm 58, and my favorite music is the 70s. That's my thing.
So I grew up in the 70s, and I was only 14 when I started, you know, Grease and Saturday Night Fever. But my biggest thing, I left school in 1980, and when I left school, then it was the romantic time, you know, and I followed Spandau Ballet and Tony Hadley all the way through. So I'm a real fan, and I love to sing and dance at concerts. And I used to think that I had to be with someone to have a good time. Actually, I don't. It's actually about the inside. I had a beautiful friend who passed away last year. He was my rock. He was a beautiful, beautiful guy. He was a monk, and he passed away with cancer. And I shared some of these crazy things that I do, and he used to always laugh at me. We were always laughing. And he said, "Do you know when you do that, when you can dance on your own nude?" He said, you have found the place. You have found the place that the monks go to. He said, because you're not trying to get the experience by going outside of yourself. You've gone inside, because it's an inside job. The whole thing is about how you feel internally. And it doesn't matter, you know, loneliness is an inside job, and you can go from loneliness to ecstatic pleasure. And I'm groaning and moaning because I'm feeling so great. And I didn't drink anything apart from water, and I didn't go to a club, and I wasn't with friends. I just danced to the music. So music, laughter, when you laugh, when you literally belly laugh, you go back to being the child. You go back to being the young person that you were born as, and you go back into the heart. Dancing, singing, laughing, they all take you into the place of the heart. And when you're in the heart, then all there is calm and peace and tranquility. Now imagine if we all did that. Imagine what this world would be like if we all stepped into our heart through these simple things, laughing, passing jokes. I'm always laughing, and I live alone. But because I laugh, and I've got friends that are constantly making me laugh, and I make other people laugh because it's a perpetual thing. And when you laugh in the belly, when you belly laugh, that's where the sexual energy resides, and that's where the fun, the spontaneity, the childlikeness, and that's where our desire to move forward, that's all the great stuff. That's our passion, our desire, our flow, and things get easier when we laugh. So when we laugh and we sing from the same place and we dance from the same place. And so when we go down into the belly, whether we're singing, laughing, dancing, we feel different. And then there is no time. Time is a mind construct. It's man-made. You can be at a party and dance and sing. It's later than you thought it was. Or you can be having a really nice meal, and then when you looked at your watch or your phone, and it's later than you thought it was. Now, there's much more to this, you know, because I'm giving you some really simple things. When you go into what I call the love zone, when you actually step into the frequency of love, that is a 528 hertz. Can you imagine if everyone stepped into the love zone? What would happen? There would be no wars. There'd be no conflict. There would be no panic, no fear, no frustration. There would only be peace.
Mm, that's such a beautiful mantra for us to take in and to try to help each other bring into our lives.
And there's some very simple things. It's not difficult to get to this place. All we have to do is to move into the place by doing some of these very simple things, to laugh, to breathe. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to share with you is mainly when we're stressed, we breathe here in the upper area here, and when we breathe shallow, then we just create mind, and the mind just keeps going, and that's where the stress resides. So when you breathe down into the belly, right down below the belly button, so when the breath goes down into the belly, something incredible happens. The mind goes silent. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to be doing anything. You don't have to have done any training, any meditation at all. I have people that come to see me that are from the corporate life that, you know, never switch off ever, that are super performers, superstars, and they're really successful in their business, but their relationships, their personal life are not working for them. That's their family, their intimacy, their personal life doesn't work. And I teach extremely simple practices about moving from the thinking mind, reconnection to the heart, reconnection to the five senses, and then everything becomes calm. I've had people laughing, you know, I've had people, and the emotion comes up in their eyes, and sometimes they might complicate it because they're not used to the emotion. But when we release the emotion, then we feel different, better, calmer, easier, and sleep is better. This is the off switch for the mind. You know, nobody teaches you this in school. I had to learn it the hard way. I spent years finding out this work and years understanding how it was impacting me so that I could share this with people, because I'm a natural teacher and educator. If I learn something, I learn it from extraordinary, incredible spiritual teachers that don't really explain in the way that, you know, me as a corporate person needs. You know, I need it all like sort of, you know, broken down. Otherwise, if somebody tells me to breathe, I go, well, how? You know, I'm breathing. You know, if somebody tells me to be present, I go, well, yeah, you know, that sounds like really cool, but, you know, tell me how I do that. You know, if somebody tells me to be in the now, you know, like, you know, some of my mentors, really, as a corporate girl, I can say, well, all right, that sounds like a cool place to be. How do I do that? Tell me, teach me, guide me, mentor me, tell me step by step what I do. And because I went through that rigorous training, that's what I do for people. I break it down so they get it, so they feel that difference, so they connect with their heart. I can spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a call, and the person feels connected. How do I do that? Frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything, even our words. If we use the word hate, that's a low frequency and a low vibing word. If we use the word compassion or joy or I'm grateful, even if we say the art of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, if you say thank you for that present, what happens is that you're saying out loud, I'm really grateful. And you know what happens? The universe responds to that and it gives you more of what you're grateful for. But if we're complaining, which tends to be what we do, unless you've done some crazy work like I've done, but we tend to be complaining what we're not happy about. And when we complain about what we're not happy about, what happens is that we get more of what we're not happy about. And I mean, that isn't cool at all. You know, that's kind of crazy. But that's how we're creating. We are manifestors of everything we're experiencing. And so it is important to be mindful about what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about, what you're talking about, what you're complaining about. And when you step into the place of, you know, I call it the attitude of gratitude. You know, even if the tube arrives, you know, on time, and it means that I get to my destination timely, otherwise I would have been late, I actually kind of look up and go, thank you. Because when you're grateful, then more of what you're grateful for comes into your life. And so I'm grateful for a lot of things. And when you're grateful, that raises your vibration. It puts you into the heart space. And when you go into the heart, all there is joy and peace. It takes you out of the mind and it gives you inner peace.
Caroline, you have given us so much to think about. And I just love from where we started with, balls and parties and galas and being out there and people just thinking, oh, she has it all, to you going complete opposite way and giving people understandable, digestible ways that they can eliminate stress, get in touch with who they are, and find what really makes them happy.
It's easy when you know how, because when we were not taught this stuff in school, and because we're not taught, we don't know. And because we don't know, and because of everything that's going on right now in the world, there is a lot of fear and panic, and there is a lot of anxiety. We have an epidemic of mental health because people are living in survival, and survival keeps us in a low vibration. That doesn't give us peace. That creates terrible sleep, no sleep. And so when you wake up feeling tired because you didn't sleep. And then the whole thing starts again. So stepping into the love zone, stepping into 528 hertz changes your frequency, and it changes your life. It is the core of everything. When we step into that core, we step into the truth of who we really are and what we're meant to be here for. We step into a frequency of harmony and this transformation. But when we're in the mind, we're in beta brainwave, and that is where all the dialogue and all the stress resides. And when we're in fear and panic, then we're in the mind. Then when there's no mind, all there is joy. And my big thing about this is how we create world peace. It's one person, by one family, by two families, by community, by colleagues, by friends. You can't do world peace with guns. You can't work in the same place of where the problem started. We have to go somewhere else. And we can all go into the heart by laughing, by being joyous. And if you think about a newborn baby when they're born, we're all gooing and garing, and it's because the baby is pure. There is no conversation in the mind. They're literally sensory, and that's how we were all born. We were all born with our five senses. And if you want to know how to get present, look around. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? And more importantly, what do you feel? And it's not, I feel sadness, loneliness, heartache. That's a different feel. It's, how does the shirt feel against my skin? How does the wind feel in my hair? How does the sun feel on my face? That's real feel. And when you go sensory feel, it's incredible. All there is joy. And we all goo and gar at children playing because there is no fear. Young children. The frequency of love can also be tapped into when we hug. When we hug someone or hold someone, it releases a hormone called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is a natural occurring hormone in the body. And oxytocin, I actually nickname it the love drug, because when you are in a hug, everything melts and you feel great. So it's not about just tapping the person's back when you hug them. This is about literally holding them in a place where you're heart to heart. And when the heart is connected to the heart, then we work in the frequency of the heart and create inner peace. Do you know, I'm loving this because I have so much to share. It's just really, it's just like, I'm just on a roll.
Well, you can keep rolling. We just need to take another break. I'm letting the show go over, which is terrific because you have a lot of good information. So our break, we're going to watch a video that is from the debutantes, and it's called If Paradise Is. And I'm just going to put us backstage so that this clip can be on the whole stage. So take a Wow, how about that? That's the debutantes. There are two sisters from Cardiff, and it's Victoria and Lavinia. And Victoria George Veal is a correspondent, a Welsh correspondent for JTV. And we were introduced to her through Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Shard on Celebrate Great Britain, Royally Rich. So I thought that would be totally appropriate because it's so happy and uplifting.
It is perfect. I couldn't have, I couldn't have asked you for anything better. What one of my sayings is, we can create our heaven on earth. It exists because it's not external to us, it's internal. We have our heaven inside, and we can all get there through going from mind to heart. It looks like a short distance, but it's a long journey for some, and it certainly was for me. But we really all can get there. And when there is no fear, panic, resentment, shame, blame, when we move into the heart, it's the thing of all things. It's where transformation really exists and real heart joy exists. What I want to do is, the other thing that I wanted to share is that it's the height of creativity. We can actually create so much from the heart consciousness. It's unbelievable what can happen, because when you're in your heart space, when you're in heart consciousness, all there is, then it's transmutable to other people. So other people just smile at you. They will feel good around you. You'll be infectious. You'll be, when I say infectious, I mean contagious. You'll have presence. I call it the impulse effect. When I walk up the street, not made up, and I'm just doing my shopping, when I'm dressed in, sort of boots and nothing too glamorous, it's amazing how many people will talk to me and say, hey, can I have your number? And it's amazing. And it's an inside job. It's not external. And when I was in Tesco just a couple of weeks ago, there was this guy, very, very good looking guy, young. He turned around to me and he said, he had his phone out. He was checking his messages and he said, I like you. Can you give me your number? And I just said, do you know what? You've really made me smile, and thank you. But I'm sure I'm at least twice your age. He said, no, it doesn't matter. Age is a number. I said, how old do you think I am? And he said, and then I said to him, actually, how old are you? And he said he was 30. And I said, well, I am almost twice your age. I'm 57. And he says, oh my gosh. He said, you're good. He said, I definitely want your number. This is what happens, because it's not about age. It's not about what you're wearing. It's about the inside. It's about your resonance, your frequency. It's the hidden thing. I call it the impulse effect. It's the thing that makes you the beingness that people are attracted to. Sometimes we call it charisma, presence, whatever you want to call it. It's the magic. It's the zone. And when you have it, it's beautiful because everything gets connected around you. So even though there's some crazy, challenging times that we're in right now, I'm still dancing in my living room and having a ball. And I didn't go out. I didn't take a glass of wine or a glass of champagne, even though I do like a glass of wine, a glass of champagne. I just can't do very much of it these days because I don't need it, because I have the inside happiness. And that's the, sometimes I'll do an ecstatic dance that's recorded, and, I'm doing it in my living room because of the times that we're in. And I will be groaning and moaning, and I'm on my own dancing. And that's because something's changed internally. And I didn't need to go to a nightclub. There's some other things I want to share with you, and I'm conscious about the time as well. So the 5 love languages, if I'd have known this when I was married, I would have not made some of the mistakes that I did make. There are 5, according to Dr. Chapman, 5 ways that we show our love for someone. So for me, I like the physical touch, the hugs, the kisses, the tactileness. And so if somebody holds me or hugs me, then I'm satisfied, then I'm happy, and I feel good. But when I was married, my then husband, he wasn't tactile. He was very aloof. And so for his way of showing his love, he would think about me and cut things out of the Financial Times. And he would save them for me until I got home and said, I was going through the paper and I thought that you would enjoy reading these because it's what you do. And I just looked at it and I said, oh, thank you. And I put them down. I said, I'll read them later. And I didn't. And can you imagine what that did for him? Because he was thinking about me. He was showing me he was thinking about me. But I just thought, well, why is he cut articles out of the Financial Times? Just give me a hug. But this is how we cause the challenges internally, because I thought that he didn't love me because he didn't hug me or hold me or tell me he loved me or kissed me. And he didn't think I loved him because I didn't read his articles. So he was showing me things. That was his quality. He was giving me quality of time. So that's the physical touch. We've got words of affirmation. And so when we talk about, like I needed my then husband to say, I love you. He didn't kind of say very often because that wasn't his thing. He showed me, he didn't tell me. But some people need to be told. I needed to hear the words, but that wasn't his way. And so I didn't think he loved me because he didn't tell me and he didn't hold me, but he did some other things. And so if I'd have known about these 5 love languages, I would have known what his love language was. Some people, their love language is time, quality of time. So they will spend time with you. They will say, well, let's watch a movie together. Let's have dinner. Let's go to the park. Let's do something together. And it's the person giving you their time. So that's quality time that you spend together. Now, for some people, time isn't their thing. It's the affection. And so it's important to manage what's going on there, because if one person's love language is quality of time and another person's love language is affirmations, can you see how we could get upset that the person isn't giving us the time because they're saying things to us? And then there's acts of service. And acts of service, what do I mean by that? It's when somebody makes breakfast for you, when somebody cooks dinner with love, when somebody pays attention to giving you something that you will enjoy. So one of the things my then husband did is he would buy me flowers, because I never bought myself flowers, and he would buy me flowers because he knew I got so much joy from them. And so he was presenting me with gifts. So he was really good in some ways. It's just that I didn't understand what was not working. And I learned all of this afterwards so I can be the best possible person for the next person I'm with. So we've got words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Now, we all respond in different ways, and we can have a combination of these things. But when we understand the other person's love language, then we're speaking in a different way to each other, and we can connect in a deeper way with our family, our friends, our colleagues, and most importantly, the partner that makes us happy.
And it sounds like we don't always need a partner, right? We can just be happy. You're by yourself, I'm by myself. We're both pretty happy.
And so that's beautiful, because you lead me into the next thing I wanted to say, is that when you are whole and complete and happy in yourself, what happens is that you meet somebody else that's whole and complete and happy in themselves. And frequently we say things like, this is my other half, or I need a man, or I need a woman, because then we feel complete. But when you're feeling complete on your own, and you're feeling good, and you're laughing, and you're happy, and I'm laughing watching movies on my own, then I'd like to share it with someone. Because if I'm whole and complete and happy and content, then I can give that to somebody else that's the same. But when we're looking for the other half, when we're looking to find someone to complete us, then there's something that's missing. And nobody completes us, we complete ourselves. And this is where we go from the stress and the anxiety and the pain, because we're looking external for that. We're looking externally outside of us to reach that goal of happiness, that internal happiness. And actually, it's all inside, and it's in the heart.
So well summed up. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's we went from where you used to be and leaving that life behind to where you are today. You're just fine dancing by yourself and just share. And the fact that you shared that was really beautiful.
Well, it's important because I'm still human. We all are. Doesn't matter how many years I've been training, we still have things that we have to handle. And I still work with mentors and trainers now. I'm working with some beautiful people. And there's one particular person that's teaching me medicine song. And I mean, he's quite incredible. And it's very powerful, the work I'm doing. And I can't wait to kind of make it really good. He's teaching me to sing. And one of the big pieces about that teaching me to sing is that when I was growing up, I grew up in an environment where, we kind of had to be quiet. Children are seen and not heard. And so I spent a lot of time in church, and that was the culture. It was an adult culture then, all back, I was born in 1964, and it was very much, that was kind of the way. And now, I've kind of finding my voice in terms of my singing, because I sing on my own. I sing in the shower and I chant and I meditate and I'm having a ball. But to actually project that voice from a singing place to the world is a big deal for me, because it's going to put everything out there for people to see and hear. And so I can speak about it, but I've got a beautiful guy, mentor, trainer, who's teaching me to sing so that I can really reach even deeper places with myself, and more importantly with others, so I can change their lives, they change their families, their communities, and then we have world peace.
Caroline, you're a beautiful soul. I can't wait for you to come back and sing for us. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
By email, if that's easier for the person because they're in a different time zone, or by call, so by phone. The phone number is running across the ticker. My email address is there. It's nomorestress@live.co.uk. It is what it says. It was a makeshift email address, and actually people laughed at it so much that I kind of kept it, and it seems to work. So nomorestress@live.co.uk, or reach out, call me, because even 10-15 minutes in a call with me, I offer free consultations, a free initial discovery consultation call, and you will find a place of peace in that call. And then if you want to do more work with me, then we kind of look at that and we see where we go from there.
Thank you so much for providing that information. And you really are very talented and very gifted. And I feel your energy, your positive aura, and I'm so glad that you were here today.
Me too. I'm excited for everyone that listens to this broadcast. What's going to happen?
Well, make sure that you continue sharing it and have your network share it, and I'll definitely share it too. We want to get it out to as many people as possible.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It really has. I've loved it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure also, and I'd love for you to come back and see us. And I'm going to talk to you about joining us on our team for A Better You. And that is a platform where people present 15-minute lessons to help make us better. And I think you have everything that we need to share with the world. So I'll be in touch with you about that.
Thank you. I would be absolutely delighted. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Philip Chan, if you're out there. It's great having another one of your friends on the program. Thank you again, Caroline. Have a peaceful evening and start your dancing, girl. I can see you dancing.
You know what I'm going to do.
Got it.
Happy dance.
Woo! Have your happy dance. Great interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, so many wonderful tips that she shared there that, as I mentioned also, I was always told, oh, you have a jet set life. And meanwhile, I was really unhappy and I was always sick, and I just wasn't reading the signs. I wasn't putting two and two together. So that's the end of our show for today. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about our shows for tomorrow. We are starting at 12:30 Eastern time, which is 5:30 British summertime. And it's the 529 Club Creatives with Deborah Wooden and our guest, Chris Woodworth, voiceover artist. We've interviewed him before. He's excellent. Then at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, which is 7 p.m. British Summer Time, we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And our two experts tomorrow are Teuda and Ralph Graves Jr. 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 p.m. British Summer Time, we have It's All About Dating with my co-host Lori Mendelson and our special guest Shasta Townsend. Yes, Shasta will be in the house. I can't wait. And then our final show is 5 p.m., which is 10 p.m. British Summer Time. And I certainly appreciate how people over in the UK stay up later. And some of my friends are up till 5 in the morning. It amazes me. So this is not too late for you. If it's 10 p.m., we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And my expert presenter tomorrow is Mariska Duprier. So please do join us. One more request for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's USA Global TV. And you can watch all of these shows because every person, I promise you, shows up big. Everybody is doing an A+ job bringing tremendous information, their experience, their knowledge, and their expertise. So I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you again. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Have a beautiful night, morning, afternoon.